Good morning. This is Gaming Perspectives with
Saul
and Jolene. And today we're talking about, he has titled it, End of the Line RPGs.
When those RPGs are going out of print.
Which is a very sad thing for Saul.
It's okay. It just makes my library more valuable. So I was looking at, I was going on Facebook, internet stuff, and Modifius is selling out their Mutant Chronicles 4th edition books.
Are you sure someone didn't tell you in an email?
Also, Morgan did tell me an email.
Thank you.
Yes. But I had seen the thing before, too. And I'm like, they have sales all the time, right? Modifius. They've had, in fact, right now, they're having a summer sale on different this and that. So a lot of people do that on a lot of companies do that during this summer or whenever. They'll have an autumn
summer,
sale.
winter,
Whatever they want,
spring,
right?
fall.
They don't, but anyway, so I go, check out, but the prices were like completely slashed, right? I bought a large core book, which is probably went on sale for $60, and I bought it for like $40. Well, not on sale, or when it was slightly discounted, but it was $6. Like a 400-page core book.
Did you buy more of them?
Well, I bought one for Morgan, and I bought one for whoever else, Bay or Shannon, and Bay decided to take it. So, but I weaseled that they have to run at least one adventure for me. So, ching.
So what was it? So just because it was on sale, you bought it, or because it was going out of print?
Right. So I don't really know, but
You don't know that it's going out of print?
I'm pretty sure it is because, well, that's what I read. And I don't remember the source, which I don't. This is the problem why I didn't want to say it. But I heard rumors that they're losing the license to publish it. So anytime you lose a license, there's a certain date by which after that you cannot legally sell the books anymore.
Oh, so they put it on really big sale to
They need to empty these warehouses.
Yeah.
Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know what they can do.
Give them away? I don't know.
I guess. I don't know.
Although
weird.
that would kind of be weird, right?
I don't even know what they can. I don't know legally what they can do.
You pay shipping and we'll give you the book.
Yeah, I don't know how that probably wouldn't work. But anyway, so like $20, $30 books were for $125. Right? That's pretty steep discount. The same thing happened with the One Ring. I'll be going back. I could be going back to Modifius Chronicles, but with the One Ring, the people holding the license lost the license. They were also working on a second edition.
You bought extra books when that happened too, didn't you?
No, I was not able to because I was too slow.
You were too slow.
Yes, because when I heard about it, I rushed to their website and everything was sold out.
But I thought you got somebody else those books.
I only got them in the aftermarket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that was terrible. I was very bummed. But I think I own almost every book in the first edition One Ring.
See, if you're Saul's friend and there's a game that he wants to play, he'll buy you a book.
There's a chance he might get a book in the mail, in the post.
So other people will play with them.
I have high hopes of my friends running games for me. So back to Mutant Chronicles. So they have a complete line. There's I don't know how many books. They have about a good 15 to 20 books.
So that's the core rule book plus adventures and
then they have
monster manuals and stuff like that. I'm saying that, but
what they have, well, because it's based on corporations.
Okay.
Yeah, supplements. They're based on White Star and all these Brauhaus and all these corporations. So
what's it called?
Mutant Chronicles.
Okay,
4th edition.
I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to tell me what Mutant Chronicles is.
So Mutant Chronicles is near future. Well, no, yeah. Well, I don't know how near it is, but it's a science fiction where we have colonized the planet, the moon, and we're expanding into the solar system. They call it diesel punk.
Okay.
So this game was, I guess it first came out. I don't know if it was a comic book first, but it came out around the 80s, and whoever came up with this idea, they called it diesel punk because it was like kind of over the top, right?
Had they just watched Mad Max or something?
Yeah, because they have these things. Okay, for example, shoulder pads. They're really into shoulder pads.
Okay, that was definitely an 80s thing.
That's shoulder pads. So in the game, the bigger the shoulder pads, the more armor you get.
Okay.
So, and then basically everything's going well, except that corporations are owning everything, right? And then what happens is, I think it's Pluto or one of the outer planets.
Pluto's not a planet any longer.
Back then it was. Yes. So there's a exploration going on with the solar system. They land on the planet. I don't know if it's Pluto. It had to be Pluto because those ones are too big to land on, I think. Right? They're all like gas giants, so they have too high of a...
Anyway.
So they land on this planet. I don't know which one, but I'm pretty sure it's Pluto. And there's this like ancient artifact there, or civilization building. And they go in and they touch this artifact, and this artifact is like filled with evil. And as soon as they touch it, it zaps the whole solar system, right? And evil starts to spread. And along with this evil, things, anything electrical starts to slowly not work anymore, right? So depending on what era of Mutant Chronicles you're playing in, if you begin at the very beginning, only like.
So wouldn't that be a problem for the people with the spaceship that just landed on Pluto?
Yeah, definitely. And then nothing's heard of from that group again, right? They're who knows what happens to them. Obviously, they were tainted with the evil. The people on Lunar Colony, slowly things start to degrade and fall apart. So they revert to more like older technology.
This could be a problem for people on the moon.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but anyway,
no atmosphere.
Well, they have what do you call it?
A dome.
A dome, right? And the dome is going to work no matter what. But like certain things inside the dome may not work, and so things start to degrade and stuff like that. As they figure out what's going, as the universe finds out, the humans find out what's really going on. So basically this taint of evil goes out throughout the solar system. It also affects electricity and electronics, and so as the electronics start to degrade, the evil starts getting bigger. It starts corrupting people, and it starts doing things for its nefarious reasons of probably taking over the humanity and ending all life or something like that. So that's the world that you live in, and it's an interesting setting. There was one movie called Mutant. It was based on Mutant Chronicles, but it's not really Mutant Chronicles. I mean, it's about mutants coming to. That's why it's called Mutant Chronicles, because this evil mutates people and makes them into monsters. So that is Mutant Chronicles in Saul's
brain.
Quick synopsis. So it's very like over the top. Like I said, people like wearing these long coats with big shoulder pads and
hats,
hair, weird. So
I don't know. You touched your head. And
I know. I couldn't
think
of what. Yeah, they wear hats, and it's like this. It's this noir type of
got it.
High tech diesel, and they call it diesel punk because the idea is that like going back to diesel gas powered machines that pumping out all kinds of.
I got it.
All kinds of black smoke.
And coal
and stuff like that. So I can imagine something like Blade Runner, where.
So since I got you off track, let me get you back on track. So now they're selling this because you think they may be losing their license.
I'm pretty sure they are.
So they're selling it for really cheap.
Right.
So your question about it is, when it's the end of the line for RPG, should you buy it?
Right.
Because someone might play it with you.
Well, there's different reasons why you would buy it, right? And I think. Shannon, one of my friends, he says the reasons certain people buy books, and he kind of uses it as a slight, I think, is people just you're just a collector. You don't really like play. You don't have.
I don't see how that's a slight, but I can see his point. Some
collectors don't buy books because they ever intend to play.
They just want to have them in their collection.
Right, but I don't.
Isn't there in that movie? What was the movie that the one?
You got to give me more hints than you staring at me. Any actor, any situation?
The one with the tree and the raccoon.
Whoa, the tree and the raccoon.
Groot.
Oh yeah.
Where they went and he was collecting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think he was collecting for a reason. The collector he was called, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
But you have a collection of books on your shelves that may or may never be seen again.
Seen? No. I mean,
but on a table.
Played. Oh, yeah. I have high hopes for almost everyone. High hopes.
So that makes you a collector.
I do have. See, so there we go. So that's where we're getting to. So there's different reasons why you would buy an out of print book. One is because you're just interested in the book in the setting, right? Like,
or you've been playing it since it came out, and you want to make sure that you have extra copies to give out to people.
There's that, but also, like I said, that's one person, right, who's actually going to play the game, wants to play the game, and thinks that, well, I'm going to give these to my friends.
They're already playing the game, is what I'm saying.
Already, yeah, there's that. But maybe just your friends don't have the books or something, and
right.
This is a good way of doing it. Just give it to them.
Because if it's $6, I mean, you're going to buy some extras,
right? Or you just buy extras, so you have plenty of copies around the.
Well, I can personally
table.
attest that when our Pathfinder book, we had a Pathfinder rule book, and Steve had a Pathfinder rule book,
right?
And both of them totally were destroyed by the children going through them. Saul has them taped together.
Tape. Well, yeah.
I'm just saying that that if you play a game enough,
yes,
that especially apart. With kids or teenagers or guys that want to look everything up 5 times a day, those books are going to get used and
used up.
Yeah, and you're going to need to buy new ones, which right. I think we've bought a couple already. Plus, you bought the pocket versions.
I thought they were cute. That's the reason I bought them.
You can't read them, but that's okay.
Oh, you can read them. Not us, but kids can read them. Yeah, so there's that, right? You buy them because you're playing the game and you want extra copies before they go out of print.
Right.
And so your table could have more.
Because a lot of people don't like just PDFs. They like the actual book.
And there's some people that go, well, Saul already has the book. Why I could always borrow his version to look stuff up. And that does happen, right? When you, like you said, the Pathfinder book has been taped. I think the Pathfinder had a book in binding problems anyway, but you're right. We used the heck out of that system, and there were boys, there were kids reading those books, so the bindings got a real workout many times.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, but
I think our version is a slightly better condition than Steve's version.
I don't know. Well, you taped it up better.
Yeah, that's a great care in the taping stuff.
So I can see, like, if you're playing the game, that's what I was saying, that you would want to buy extra.
Right, and that's a good reason.
If it's going out of print.
Right. Another reason you would want it is even if you don't think about playing, let's say you don't have the book.
Sooner or later, someone's going to want it.
Well, let's say you're kind of interested in the setting, and so in case my friends might want to play, you'll buy the book, right? Because the ultimately is. The buying of the book now, even if it was like slightly discounted, because a lot of people discount things as they try to get rid of them. Even if you discount them a little bit, people are going to buy it, going, well, if I kind of interested in that system, or that game, I want to buy it because you never know in the aftermarket or used or
what you're going to get,
or how much it's going to cost, right? Because people think because it's out of print, it should be worth more, and sometimes that is true, but sometimes it's out of print for a reason, right? Because like nobody bought the game because it sucked, and in this case, that's not the case. In this case, that is not the case. It is the fact that they're losing the license, or maybe they don't want to renew it, whatever it costs to renew the license, whatever. So whatever that is, it's going out of print. So you have the person who's already playing, you have the person that's kind of interested in the game and might want to play. And you have the collector, like, oh wow, this is a chance for me to buy the book, brand new book in pristine condition. And chances are, if I don't like the system, I could always sell it later on and make a little bit of money on it, which that does happen, unfortunately. I think those are pretty good reasons of why you would want to buy a book that's going out of print.
Okay.
And I think probably the best reason too is like the first one. You're playing or you want to play, and or my version is I want to play. I've had the book. I've played once or twice. I ran it once or twice, and I think if I give this book away to people, they'll look at it at the very least. And I know for a fact that Morgan will look at it, read the rules, and
so will Bay.
And Bay. Shannon, I wasn't too sure of because he really has to be interested in what he's reading, but Bay and I think Morgan are just more curious in that sense, going, well, Saul's interested in this game. Let's give it a shot. See what it has.
Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. Yeah. We'll see.
It'll cost me 4 hours of my time, or 3 hours to run the game. So I think that's probably a very good reason to play it. Or the first reason is that you're running the game or playing the game, and you can give these out to your friends, or your friends will buy them so they can have their own copy at the table, and that's pretty good. And I think that's a good reason. And I think when games go out of print, it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like sad, right? Because like there's less chances that new people will pick up that game. Right?
Well, I don't know. With Kickstarter these days, someone might decide that someone else might get the license and do a new version.
Yeah, but then it probably won't have the same mechanics.
I understand. Well, the One Ring, there's a new version of it, right?
Second edition, yes. Yeah, and they slightly changed it, right? The rules. It still uses sort of the basic rules. So the original people who owned the rights, Cubicle 7, were also working on the second edition. So when they lost the license for whatever reason, Cubicle 7, and they got it, and then Free League got it, I don't know how much of that second edition that they had been worked on even made it into their version, because Cubicle 7, I don't know, are they going to give them all that work? I doubt it. So Free League worked off the first edition, but it probably wasn't the same rules that Cubicle 7 was working on. And I think Cubicle 7 was more inclined to keep second edition and first edition more similar for people to.
Now, I've heard lots of discussion on this. And people, in email.
Oh, yes, from us, yes.
People that play it, and what they like about it, what they don't like about it, that kind of thing. So it's always interesting when there's the original one that you get used to playing, but then a new version comes out, and you like certain things about it and you dislike certain things about it.
Well, basically what I was saying is that if Cubicle 7 had made the second edition, it'd probably be more
consistent,
more compatible, and more consistent to the first edition. But you have a totally different company making it, and the only advice that whoever owned the system, or I don't even know if they even gave them advice, but they probably didn't want to totally change the rules and come up with a totally different system and kick the first edition people to the curb. I think they needed those people who played first edition to buy into their Kickstarter and say, okay, we're not going to change it that much. We're just, it's going to be updated rules. And they're like, okay. And it sold like nuts.
Because people are nuts. That's all there is to it.
And it's token, right? It's a lot of, there's things that sell on Kickstarter. Anything Cthulhu. So anybody out there, you can make anything Cthulhu. And
That's not a slight. I'm just saying that because every time Saul says anything about Cthulhu, people tell us he's saying something bad.
No. But those people are crazy. They'll buy anything Cthulhu.
Like I said, that's not a slight.
They're rabid. No,
stop.
So, and probably anything with Middle Earth. But see, Middle Earth, you got to have the license. So that's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Like Cthulhu, anybody can make Cthulhu because there's no license. The guy died, and nobody kept the license to that. Well,
so far I've only played in Shannon's game of the One Ring.
Oh yeah, was it Shannon? That's the only one. You didn't play with anybody else? Oh
no, I played with Shannon, and we made our characters, and we were in Bree.
In Bree, yeah.
And I liked it. I never wanted to play that game. These guys were bugging me for years, and I was like,
literally,
I like Tolkien, and I've read it, all of it, and I don't want to.
You don't want to taint it with our shenanigans?
I don't really want to run into those people, right? Because I find that's like, messing with the canon kind of thing.
Terrible.
But I like Shannon's game because it was, we didn't meet any. Oh, well, we guess we did talk to Bilbo, but I didn't really consider him Bilbo at the time because even though they said he was Bilbo, I just went.
He was Shadow Bilbo.
He was not a.
He was great Bilbo.
Yeah. So that was one of the reasons I never really wanted to play that game, was because I told you guys that I don't like the idea of running into the. It's like a sacred thing to me, right? Like I really like Tolkien, and I didn't want to run around in the world and mess stuff up.
Well,
which we kind of did when we ran into Bilbo.
Yeah, you didn't like it too much. So, Yeah, that's because you're playing in Bree and the Shire, right?
Yeah.
Ran into, that adventure. I don't know.
You don't need to sell it to me. I'm just telling you that. I was
trying to remember. Is that his own adventure? Or was that
I think
pre-made?
I don't know.
I think it was pre-made adventure. Yeah, I think it was.
But it was a very Shannon game. I liked it. I liked the all of the different things about it. It was it was nice to play in the system with you guys that way, because
I think you would have liked even better with the game that Bay and me are running, simply because not that I'm slighting
dude,
Shannon, but only because it's based in an area that is basically basically Tolkien only writes like a few passages in it, and that's it. So we're playing in a part of Middle Earth.
I told you don't need to sell me on it.
I'm just run into Gandalf, and you're not going to run it. You could if you wanted to, if the GM wanted you to, but you don't have to. So, and very unlikely that you would come across. The only one we come across all the time would be Radagast, because he lives out there.
But see, even in Shannon's game, because were we playing first or second edition? I don't know. I think it was still first. But you guys were talking about what was coming for the second edition, about hope and stuff like that.
Yes. Which
was very interesting, because you guys know the world and I don't. And you know the rules.
The rules.
I didn't.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So I think that's interesting. Well, a lot of people have a problem playing in games that the canon is so like ingrained. Like it's sacred almost. You don't want to touch it. I understand that. I don't agree with it, but you can kill Gandalf. I don't care.
See, you're so wrong.
I'm joking. I would never let that happen. I think it's interesting that people feel that way, that they don't want to, they don't want to play in that kind of world. At the same time, I know people who love Tolkien and want to play in that, but they want to experience it. I think Bay's a little bit better, our GM in that world, than I am, because he's more well versed in that world. I mean, he's kind of read the Silmarillion, so he knows all that goofy stuff about the 3,000 years in the past. Where I'm more centered with the movies and just the Lord of the Rings part of it, right? I don't know about the Valinor and who created the freaking what was that monster? The big winged monster with the big fire, the Balrog. I don't know where he came from. He was just a cool monster, I thought. Supposedly he was made by Sauron and his buddies or something.
This is where I say, anyway.
Some people are going to be mad at me. But no, I'm a little bit more versed in that. But anyway, I'm not as versed as Bay. So when he makes something when he says something and he ties something else, he can tie it to...
People don't look it up?
Yes. Are you sure that really happened? So, out-of-print books, I think if you really like the system, like we were talking about Lord of the Rings. We were talking about the One Ring. It was going out of print. I already had the book, so I didn't really need anything. But a lot of people were rushing to buy them. And then, I don't know why it ended as quick. I don't know if I had I have more time now with Mutant Chronicles than I did with the One Ring. Because when I went to with the One Ring, everything was sold out. Dice, every freaking accessory. And then it went out of print, and then you can't find them. And then I was looking for books online and on eBay, and they were like really crazy expensive. And they got crazier expensive and crazier expensive. So,
Saul and I were also talking about out of print books. There's here in the Bay Area, there's a lot of flea markets.
Flea markets
between the conventions and Game Castle and other places.
Game stores that have their little flea markets.
So. Yeah. I know, like, with the flea markets that we've gone to, Saul's bought whole systems and brought them home. Never seen them since, but that's okay.
You can see them right there.
But to me, it's interesting. He talks about eBay, and he was telling me that a lot of people only can find out-of-print books in places like that, but
online, yeah.
But there's used bookstores and flea markets and stuff where somebody makes them sell their stuff, or somebody died and they sell all their stuff,
right?
And different things like that. So there's different ways besides just eBay to get.
Right. I think you're right. I think when I was thinking about that, I was trying not to think that everybody has the same opportunities to buy books that we do here in the Bay Area. And some people might have it better. But like you said, there's a game store group here, I don't know what you call it, chain, that has flea markets. They open up their space and they sell tables, and people come and sell their stuff, whatever that is, RPG related,
and board game related, board games, right? And comic book related.
Yeah. So when you have that available, you could go, or the convention. The conventions usually have a night or a day or
at least our conventions. Saul tells me not to say all conventions because
not all conventions.
I don't know what other conventions do.
Well, I think
he also tells me I'm spoiled to live here because there are conventions that have all these things.
Right, and I think that's true too, because like depending on how much influence the dealers' rooms have, like they don't want people there selling used stuff because it cuts into their.
I don't really think it does.
Well,
because I've seen the dealer room and I know it doesn't, because people go in and buy the stuff they want.
Right.
Especially when there's books and board games there. These are gamers, that's what they want. So they do that. But the flea market, I think, is like a cool thing for gamers because, like us, what you got, Hacienda.
Yeah.
Which is a board game that we like. I don't know why, because everybody argues when we play it, but it's one of the ones that we like. And you also bought at the other one, you bought a different game that we needed an extra copy of.
Oh no, we bought, what's it called? Is it? That's what we bought at. Oh my.
Anyway,
Istanbul. We bought Istanbul, and it had the expansion, which I didn't know there was an expansion for it. And it was like what, $10?
Yes.
And that's a really.
And I got the out of print Stone Age for like $15.
That's a deal. That's a deal.
But so that's a totally different thing than the dealer's room. The flea market is because people buy a lot of games and then they realize that they're never going to get to play them, or they don't like them, or their friends don't like them anymore, or whatever.
And that happens with game books too, like role playing games. Like,
well,
we've gone to
Saul and Felipe will go to these. Whenever they go to a flea market, I'm like, I just walk away because Saul's going through the little bins of the little milk crates full of gaming books one at a time, and I'm like going. Every once in a while, I do things like I go, oh, hey, I see that. Didn't you want that, or you need to look at that? And then he'll go, and he'll either come back in with it, or he'll come back in and go, nah, that wasn't good. That wasn't what I was looking for. He wanted $20, and I didn't want to give him $20.
Well, I am cheap too, so I think Jolene. Yeah, I think you're right. We do have. I think I'm right that we do have very good opportunities to buy used stuff here in the Bay Area, and I think almost any larger metropolitan area has the same thing. Probably LA has the same thing, especially if there's used bookstores. Now, used bookstores used to be real bargains, but then they're hooked up to the internet thing, and they kind of can look up prices.
Saul loves to go to it's called Recycle Books,
yes.
And there's two of them here in our area, and he used to love going because every once in a while someone's girlfriend made him get rid of their whole gaming collection, or someone died.
Why did you say it could be somebody's boyfriend?
No, you said it. He looks and he goes, look, Jolene, somebody made their boyfriend get rid of all their books.
I think that there's been a couple of instances that has happened. One was there was a whole collection of Hero, and it was like a huge collection of Hero books. Now, I'm not into Hero, so I didn't buy any of them, but I felt kind of sad.
He did. He was like, I feel so bad for this guy. I'm all, well, maybe he died.
That's even worse. So then there's another one. It was Vampire the Masquerade. It was like all these White Wolf books were up on the shelf. Now, I didn't buy any because I'm not into White Wolf. And another time was Call of Cthulhu. Somebody had sold their Call of Cthulhu collection. And so you find these at this local.
It's random, right? It's just random what
they buy and when they sell, what they buy when they buy it. So I think it's pretty interesting that we have that opportunity to buy out of print books, but not everybody does. As we have a good opportunity to buy out of print books at the game conventions when they have a flea market, or a game store when they have a flea market. And I think it's pretty cool, but other people don't, right? Other people don't have a game store in their town, or it's very small, or it's Target, right? So, that buying new stuff doesn't happen, or there's no convention in your town, and so that doesn't happen. So a lot of people are stuck with just going on the internet and hoping to buy something. But I've done that. I bought like even when the One Ring was out of print, the first edition, I would see somebody selling that pretty cheap, and I go, oh yeah, I bought that for $30, and I put my bid in and I won, and it just had to be timing, and nobody was looking for that thing, and I did. So it does happen. You can get lucky, not as often as you used to because they have all kinds of bots and stuff. But I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, we're pretty lucky. So buying out of print books for me is like, I remember a while ago before the pandemic, there was a flea market sale and somebody was selling their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. And I'm like, oh, like the whole collection, the After the Bomb and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I already have the book. Do I really need it? And it was super cheap. I forget how much you wanted for this stuff, but I'm like, eh. And the only reason I would have bought it was so I could sell it on eBay, right? Just to keep my habit going, right? So, but I didn't buy it. I go, well, let some other gamer here buy it. And so toward the very end, I go, hey, do you still? And indeed, he had sold the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collection, and that's good, right? It goes to a home. Maybe they'll play it. Maybe they'll have fun. And I think that's pretty neat. I think that's why I like the idea of flea markets and buying out-of-print books, because I think at times I might, I would have bought this book when it first came out, but I didn't have the money, or I didn't think it was going to be something that I'd be interested in, or more importantly, my players would be interested in. And then you hear them say, oh yeah, I would have played that game or something. And I'm like, oh well. So there's different reasons why you would buy a system that's going out of print. Probably the best one is the one that Jolene said, is to have more at the table, at your gaming table, for when you're already playing, especially core books and like now lately they have been making a player's handbook. What they do, like let's say, for example, Mutant Chronicles, it's a huge book. It's like 400 pages. But what they do is they take all the rules for character creation and anything to do with the character, making of the character and running the character, and they make a book out of it, call it the Player's Manual or something like that. And I think that's pretty cool, and it's a lot less pages, like 100 pages, and you use that to make a character. And those are good to hand out to people as you're making characters, because then you don't have to keep borrowing this one book that goes around the table. I mean, I remember we watched this video of them playing Shadowrun, or starting to play Shadowrun, and one of them had it on his phone, and they only had one book.
Right, they had one book, and everybody else was using PDFs.
And they're like looking on their phone. And I can't even imagine.
Which is like what he was using his phone, but we used tablets. We did the same thing with Shadowrun, because everybody needs their own set of rules to be able to know what they're doing there.
Right. And they did, and they bought their own. Not everybody, but our friends bought a version, their own copy. And I think I bought 2 copies just so I can have another version at the table, because that one you do have to look stuff up, unfortunately.
And we bought the PDFs.
And we had the PDFs.
Oh yeah.
So I think buying out of books that are going to be out of print are good for people who, like I said, are going to use the book as an extra copy for their table. Or if you if you just want to collect it and get it before it goes out of print, that's pretty cool. Like me, sometimes I'll take a chance on a book that I'm not sure I'm going to play, but I'm kind of interested in the setting or the rules, and I'll buy the book. And then maybe later, if I ever get the gumption, I might sell that book for a little bit of a profit. But there you go.
That's very rare.
I will say, the
only books I've seen him sell are books that other people have given him.
Well, no, that's not true. I have sold books, a few of them, and I didn't really matter. I think I do regret selling some of my books. Like I sold the little box set of Traveler for $40, and I probably could get like $100 now. So and then I did sell this game called Ghost Dog RPG, the single player RPG, and
he regretted that during the pandemic,
because like it's crazy out of print, and they didn't print a lot of them.
I thought you regretted it because you needed something to play by yourself one day.
No, I regret it because we were doing a podcast on single player.
Yes,
games,
I remember.
And I couldn't.
I had to listen. This is the second time I had to listen to it.
And I didn't have that book anymore, so I couldn't look it up. And then I go, what?
You couldn't find it anywhere online.
Yes, it was crazy. And when I did find it, it was like over $100, and I sold that book for like $2.
There you go.
There you go. So, if there's any of these reasons why you would want to buy an out of print book, I think
before it goes out of print.
Before it goes out of print, I think you should probably buy it. If you're not interested in the system, you don't think you'll ever play it, let it go. You don't have to add it to your collection. But if you're kind of interested and have a game table that's willing to play, go ahead, buy that book.
There you go. This is Gaming Perspectives with
Saul
and Jolene.
You have a good day.